Nora, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Exciting times. We have Boneyard. I watched it last night. I love the whole crime thriller type of movies. Let's start off with what can the viewers expect from when they tune in? What are you hoping to get out of this film?
Well, it's a thriller based on and loosely inspired by a real life crimes. Yeah, that was wow. That was a really mumbly answer there.
So,
Sorry, I've
so
been I've been talking for
oh,
like
I'm sure.
8 hours, so it's slowly like
Yeah.
melting. My brain's melting.
So we see you in the film as Detective Young. What drew you to this character? What drew you to this role?
I thought the story is really interesting, and I was also excited to play this role because it's not like something that I have played before. So that was part of the impetus for me to
Yeah.
want to.
Well, you mentioned, this is loosely based on a true crime. How do you prepare to play a role like this? What kind of research do you go out there to do for this character?
I spoke to a female detective about what that's like because that's something I have no experience in, and
Yeah.
I really wanted to know what that was like and see how I can best portray that because I think it's important to have that representation as it is a very male dominated field
Mm.
and to know what that's like. So that was all that I had time to do. Unfortunately, I was kind of hired right before we started filming. So
Uh, so, I mentioned Detective Young. How do you describe like her relationship now with like the other main characters, like with Police Chief Carter, we notice Ortega, just to name a few.
her relationship with them. Well, Ortega is her partner of quite a while, and they generally had a good relationship. But I think within this case, which is a very difficult case in the film, there's maybe some splintering of relationships and how people go about dealing with the case, which
How
provides
was
like a lot of
yeah.
tension.
You mentioned, the characters too. Like, how was it working with like, like Brian Van Holt or even like 50 Cent or a little bit of Mel Gibson too. He's not in it as much, but how was it working with them?
It was great. I mean, Brian and I met on the first day, going to set, and he's obviously who I share the most scenes with. And we got on great, so it was a really great working relationship, and also a nice person to get to hang out with. And Curtis, 50, he he's just so lovely and professional, and it was good. And obviously, like Mel, I grew up watching, and so it was definitely a kick to kind of share scenes with him.
Mhm. We mentioned, the film deals with a lot of like intense, like disturbing matters throughout the film. Like, how do you approach like these challenging scenes? What goes through your mind when you're filming these scenes?
I it's not. I don't think I think of them as challenging in the scope of the movie. It's more just kind of what am I doing here? What do I need to do here? How
Right.
am I, and you just kind of get by it one scene at a time and try and make sure that you're telling the story.
You mentioned this is one of the first roles you've done for like this kind of a role. Like, what was your favorite moment in this filming this film?
Oh, I don't know if there was one favorite moment, but I think there was one scene with Brian that I really um enjoyed shooting, where we kind of went at each other a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. In a few scenes, also, it kind of feels like you guys butted heads a little bit too, to it
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Can you describe those a few of those scenes to the way you guys were doing that?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm kind of. I mean, we had a couple of intense scenes with each other, but we were like laughing in between takes, so
Yeah.
it's nice. I think when you're doing something heavy, it's really nice when you have somebody else who also can kind of let it go
Mm.
uh, when you're not filming. So yeah,
Right, right. What do you think pulls the viewers in for, for a genre like this? Because, people enjoy watching these like these crime thriller type of movies. Like, what do you think pulls them in?
like human psychology or something. Like it's
Mm.
something that we can't understand. Like hopefully our brains don't work like a serial killer's, and that idea of kind of trying to understand why somebody would do that and how somebody would do that is just I think people find it rather fascinating.
Would you ever sign up again doing another type of movie like this?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. So we have Boneyard coming out soon on theater and VOD. Nora, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today on press day. I know it's been a long day for you, so I want to cut this short. So get your day going too.
Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Have a great day.